Today we step into the bold, radiant and expressive energy of Leo, or the fifth house. Leo, ruled by the sun, is the sign of creativity, passion and self-expression. The fifth house carries similar themes. It governs joy, play, romance, children, hobbies, and the way we share our unique spark with the world. When planets land here, their energy shines brightly, urging us to create, perform and live with heart. This part of the chart is all about embracing life as art. It's where we seek fun, pleasure, and the freedom to express who we are without holding back. Here, the inner child comes alive, the part of us that wants to play, dance, love, and be celebrated simply for being ourselves. Each planet in Leo, or the fifth house, takes on a more dramatic, passionate, and expressive flavour. The sun glows with confidence here, Venus craves romance and affection, Mars brings fiery passion, and Jupiter expands joy and creativity. Even the more serious planets, like Saturn or Pluto, gain a theatrical, heart-driven quality when placed in this domain. When Leo, or the fifth house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to follow your joy, embrace creativity, and allow your heart to lead the way, because this is the part of life that reminds us we're not just here to work, grow, or endure. We're here to shine, to love, and to live fully. Today we step into the bold, radiant, and heart-centered energy of the sun. In Leo, or in the fifth house, the sun represents your core identity, life force, and the light you shine into the world. Leo, ruled by the sun itself, is expressive, confident, and creative. The fifth house shares these themes. It governs joy, romance, play, and the urge to share your unique spark with others. When the sun lands here, your purpose is to live from the heart, to create, to shine, and to inspire others through your presence. This placement creates a personality that thrives on self-expression. You're naturally magnetic, with a warm energy that draws others in. Confidence is key here, though it often develops over time as you learn to embrace your individuality. At your best, you embody courage, generosity, and a playful spirit that uplifts those around you. In relationships, you're affectionate, passionate, and loyal. You need romance that feels alive, exciting, and heartfelt. Love for you is about joy and celebration, but you may need to watch for pride or the desire for too much validation from others. In career, this placement shines in any role that allows you to perform, lead, or create. Acting, art, leadership, teaching, entrepreneurship, or any field where you can put your personal stamp on the work. You're at your best when you're seen, appreciated, and able to express your true self. In health, vitality is tied to joy. When you're doing what you love, your energy glows. When you suppress your creativity, stress and burnout can follow. Movement, play, and laughter are as important for your well-being as discipline. Financially, this placement can bring a taste for luxury or spending on things that bring happiness and beauty. You're generous with money, especially towards loved ones, but benefit from balancing indulgence with responsibility. When the sun in Leo, or the fifth house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to step into your spotlight. This is not the time to hide. It's time to own your creativity, take pride in who you are, and let your heart lead. So ask yourself, where in my life am I ready to shine more brightly? And what joy have I been holding back that's ready to be expressed? Because the sun in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that your light is a gift, and the more you share it, the more the world comes alive around you. Today we step into the expressive, dramatic, and creative energy of Mercury in Leo, or in the fifth house. Mercury represents communication, thinking, and how we process and share ideas. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, confident, and heart-centered. The fifth house carries similar themes. It governs creativity, play, romance, and self-expression. When Mercury lands here, the mind and voice become instruments of performance, passion, and creativity. This placement creates a thinker and communicator who thrives on self-expression. Your words carry warmth, flair, and authority. People notice when you speak. You may have a natural talent for storytelling, public speaking, teaching, or any form of creative communication. Ideas don't just flow, they shine, often delivered with dramatic emphasis and a touch of humour or play. In relationships, you're playful, expressive, and flirtatious in communication. You value partners who appreciate your creativity and enjoy engaging in fun, uplifting conversations. You may sometimes dominate discussions, but at heart, you want your words to inspire joy and connection. In career, Mercury here shines in writing, teaching, media, entertainment, leadership, or any role where you can communicate with confidence and flair. You're at your best when your ideas are seen, celebrated, and allowed to inspire others. In health, nervous energy can manifest through tension in the heart, spine, or circulatory system if creativity is blocked. Expressive outlets, from journaling to performance, are essential for your well-being. Financially, you may find success in creative projects, speculative ventures, or careers involving communication and entertainment. There may also be a tendency to spend generously, especially on hobbies, leisure, or loved ones. When Mercury in Leo, or the fifth house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to speak with confidence and heart. Your words matter. They can uplift, inspire, and create joy. This is a moment to share your ideas without fear of judgment. So ask yourself, am I speaking my truth boldly or holding back my creative voice? Because Mercury in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that communication isn't just about facts. It's about sharing your light in a way that makes others feel alive. Today we step into the warm, magnetic, and playful energy of Venus. In Leo, or in the fifth house, Venus represents love, beauty, pleasure, and what we value. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, romantic, and expressive. The fifth house mirrors these themes. It governs joy, creativity, romance, children, and the pursuit of pleasure. When Venus lands here, love becomes a grand performance, affection is generous, and beauty is expressed with confidence and flair. This placement creates someone who loves wholeheartedly and dramatically. You thrive on passion, attention, and romance that feels alive. You're naturally magnetic, often drawing others in with your warmth and charisma. Love for you is about celebration, big gestures, loyalty, and playful connection. At your best, you uplift others with your affection. At your most unbalanced, you may crave validation or become too focused on admiration. In relationships, you're loyal, affectionate, and generous. You give with your whole heart, and you expect the same devotion in return. You value partners who make you feel special and who join you in keeping the spark of romance alive. In career, this placement shines in the arts, entertainment, fashion, beauty, or any work that involves creativity and self-expression. You may also thrive in roles where charm and charisma open doors, sales, leadership, or public-facing roles. In health, your vitality is tied to joy and creativity. When you're expressing yourself freely, you glow. When you suppress your passions, stress and emotional frustration may follow. Financially, you may enjoy spending on luxuries, beauty, and experiences that bring pleasure. You're generous with money towards loved ones, and financial opportunities may come through creative or artistic pursuits. When Venus in Leo, or the fifth house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to embrace love and beauty wholeheartedly. This is a time for joy, romance, and creative expression, but also a reminder to let your heart guide you, not your ego. So ask yourself, am I opening my heart to love and joy? Or am I waiting for others to give me permission to shine? Because Venus in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that love is brightest when it's generous, playful, and expressed with courage. Today we step into the passionate, dramatic, and heart-led energy of the moon in Leo, or in the fifth house. The moon represents your emotions, instincts, and inner needs. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, expressive, and playful. The fifth house carries these same themes. It governs creativity, romance, joy, and the inner child. When the moon lands here, feelings become big, expressive, and deeply tied to love, creativity, and recognition. This placement creates someone who feels most alive when they can express themselves. Emotional fulfillment comes through creativity, romance, and moments of joy. You need to feel appreciated, valued, and seen for who you truly are. At your best, Your warmth and generosity light up a room. At your most unbalanced, you may become overly dramatic or crave constant validation. In relationships, you're affectionate, loyal, and expressive. You thrive on romance that feels alive and playful, and you give your whole heart when you're in love. You need partners who celebrate your uniqueness and offer admiration as well as devotion. In career, this placement shines in the arts, performance, teaching, or leadership. Anywhere you can pour emotion and creativity into your work. You're not meant to hide behind the scenes. You flourish when your contributions are visible and appreciated. In health, emotional well-being is linked to creativity and joy. Suppressing self-expression may lead to frustration or stress, while play, movement, and artistic outlets help keep you balanced. Financially, you may enjoy spending on leisure, hobbies, or luxury, the things that make life more joyful. Financial stability improves when you channel your creativity into practical opportunities. When the moon in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to nurture your inner child. Make time for joy, creativity, and romance, not just duty. Your heart is asking to be seen, celebrated, and heard. So ask yourself, am I allowing myself to shine emotionally, or am I dimming my light for the comfort of others? Because the moon in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that emotional fulfillment comes from living boldly, loving deeply, and never being afraid to let your heart take center stage. Today we step into the courageous, creative, and heart-led path of the North Node in Leo, or in the fifth house. The North Node represents your soul's growth and the qualities you are here to develop in this lifetime. Leo, ruled by the sun, is expressive, bold, and joyful. The fifth house carries similar themes. It governs creativity, romance, children, and the pursuit of joy. When the North Node lands here, your soul's purpose is to embrace self-expression, take center stage, and live from the heart. This path calls you to step out of the shadows of group identity or external approval, often linked to a South Node in Aquarius or the 11th house, and into the spotlight of individuality. You're learning to follow your passions, take creative risks, and allow your unique voice to shine, even if it feels vulnerable at first. In relationships, you're meant to cultivate loyalty, generosity, and romantic joy. Love is not just about ideas or friendship here. It's about heart-to-heart connection and the courage to love fully. In career, this placement urges you towards creative pursuits, leadership, performance, or any field where your individuality makes an impact. You're not here to blend in, you're here to be seen. In health, vitality grows when you honour your passions and make space for joy. Denying yourself fun, play, or self-expression can drain your energy. Financially, abundance comes when you invest in your creativity and trust in the value of what you uniquely bring to the table. When the North Node in Leo, or the fifth house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to step out of fear of judgment and into creative courage. This is your time to shine, to let passion guide you, and to celebrate life without holding back. So ask yourself, where am I still dimming my light? And how can I honour my soul's call to create, play, and love more fully? Because the North Node in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that true growth comes not from hiding in the crowd, but from embracing the joy of being fully, unapologetically yourself. Today we step into the karmic patterns of the South Node in Leo, or in the fifth house. The South Node represents past life tendencies or early life habits that feel familiar but can hold you back if you cling to them. Leo, ruled by the sun, is expressive, bold, and proud. The fifth house shares these themes. It governs creativity, romance, joy, children, and self-expression. When the South Node lands here, the soul comes in with a strong familiarity with being in the spotlight, seeking recognition, and expressing individuality with flair. This placement suggests a history of shining brightly, perhaps as a leader, performer, or someone used to receiving attention. You know how to express yourself and create joy, but the lesson now lies in moving towards the North Node in Aquarius, or the 11th house, balancing personal pride with collective vision. You're learning that your light doesn't dim when you share it with the group. In fact, it grows stronger when it uplifts others. In relationships, the challenge may be releasing the need for constant admiration or dramatic displays of affection, Your growth lies in building partnerships based on equality, friendship, and shared goals, not just passion and validation. In career, you may feel most comfortable in roles where you lead or perform, but your evolution comes from collaboration and using your creativity in service to a greater cause. In health, burnout may come from constantly seeking external excitement or recognition. Rest, humility, and community involvement help restore balance. Financially, this placement may bring a tendency to spend generously or invest in personal pleasures. Your growth comes from learning detachment and seeing resources as tools for shared progress. When the South Node in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to release ego-driven patterns and step into a more collective vision. You don't need constant applause to know your worth. Your light shines naturally. So ask yourself, am I creating just for myself, or am I willing to share my gifts for the benefit of others? Because the South Node in Leo or the fifth house teaches that while self-expression is powerful, your soul's true growth comes from letting your creativity inspire and uplift the world beyond you. Today we step into the fiery, passionate, and dynamic energy of Mars in Leo or in the fifth house. Mars represents drive, action, and how we assert ourselves. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, expressive, and proud. The fifth house mirrors these themes. It governs creativity, romance, play, and self-expression. When Mars lands here, ambition is fueled by passion, pride, and the desire to shine brightly in all you do. This placement creates a bold, dramatic, and determined personality. You act with flair and confidence, often bringing a touch of theatre to whatever you pursue. At your best, you're a source of inspiration, driven by creativity, courage, and the sheer joy of being alive. At your most unbalanced, ego or competitiveness may get in the way, leading to drama or stubbornness. In relationships, you're fiery, romantic, and affectionate. Love for you is about passion and excitement, and you want a partner who celebrates your energy and matches your intensity. Loyalty is important, but so is admiration. You thrive when you feel seen and appreciated. In career, this placement shines in leadership, performance, sports, the arts, or any role where creativity and confidence are essential. You're motivated by recognition, but your real gift is the ability to inspire others through your drive and enthusiasm. In health, vitality is strong, but burnout can come from overexertion or pushing yourself too hard for the sake of pride. Playful physical activity, dancing, sport, or performance keeps your energy balanced. Financially, you may be bold and generous with spending, often investing in pleasure, hobbies, or things that bring you joy. You have the potential to create wealth through creativity, leadership, or performance. When Mars in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to take bold, passionate action. This is not the time to hold back. You're being called to pursue what excites you and to lead it with courage. So ask yourself, am I putting my energy into what truly lights me up, or just into what gets me noticed? Because Mars in Leo or the fifth house teaches that when your actions come from the heart, you not only achieve, you inspire. Today we step into the expansive, joyful, and radiant energy of Jupiter in Leo or in the fifth house. Jupiter represents growth, wisdom, and abundance. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, creative, and heart-centered. The fifth house reflects similar themes. It governs joy, romance, play, children, and creative expression. When Jupiter lands here, life expands through fun, love, creativity, and the courage to live with an open heart. This placement creates a personality that thrives on joy and generosity. You're likely someone who uplifts others with your optimism, warmth, and confidence. Opportunities often arrive when you express yourself fully, whether through art, performance, romance, or simply sharing your natural enthusiasm. At your best, you radiate positivity and inspire others to follow their passions. At your most unbalanced, you may lean toward extravagance or overindulgence, expecting life to always feel dramatic and exciting. In relationships, you're generous, affectionate, and playful. You bring optimism and fun into romance, but may need to balance your desire for grand gestures with consistency and depth. In career, Jupiter here favours the arts, teaching, entertainment, leadership, or any field that lets your creativity inspire and uplift others. You're drawn to opportunities that let you shine and make a bold impact. In health, your vitality grows when you're pursuing joy and fun. Overindulgence in pleasures or neglecting moderation may lead to imbalance, so routines that mix play with discipline are best. Financially, this placement can bring luck and abundance through creative ventures, speculative investments, or leadership roles. You're likely generous with money, often sharing your wealth with loved ones or spending on experiences that bring joy. When Jupiter in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a sign of blessings linked to creativity, romance, or self-expression. Expansion comes when you embrace joy and live with an open heart. So ask yourself, am I allowing myself to live fully, generously, and creatively? Or am I holding back out of fear of judgment? Because Jupiter in Leo or the fifth house teaches that abundance flows when you lead with joy, courage, and the unshakable light of your true self. Today we step into the disciplined, steady, yet deeply expressive energy of Saturn in Leo or in the fifth house. Saturn represents structure, responsibility, and long-term growth. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, creative, and heart-led. The fifth house carries these same themes. It governs romance, joy, play, and self-expression. When Saturn lands here, your creativity and confidence may feel tested, yet over time you're called to build lasting joy, authentic self-expression, and committed love. This placement often creates a person who takes creativity and romance seriously. Early in life, you may have struggled with confidence, feeling hesitant to fully shine or doubting your ability to express yourself. But Saturn here teaches patience and mastery. With time, your creative voice becomes strong, steady, and deeply respected. At your best, you express yourself with dignity, maturity, and authenticity. In relationships, you're loyal, committed, and serious about love. Romance isn't just play here. It's something you want to build with substance and stability. You may need to release fears of rejection or self-doubt to fully open your heart. In career, Saturn in Leo or the fifth house favours leadership, teaching, the arts, or roles that require consistent creativity and responsibility. Success here doesn't come overnight, but through persistence and dedication, you create something lasting and impactful. In health, vitality grows when you allow yourself joy without guilt. Denying fun or creativity can lead to stress or low energy, while structured play, dance, sport, art, or hobbies restores balance. Financially, you may take a cautious approach, preferring to build wealth through hard work and discipline rather than speculation. Over time, your consistency pays off. When Saturn in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a reminder that joy and self-expression must be claimed, not postponed. You're being asked to take responsibility for your happiness and to invest in creativity and love with commitment. So ask yourself, am I holding back my joy out of fear of judgment? Or am I willing to build a life where love and creativity have room to flourish? Because Saturn in Leo or the fifth house teaches that true fulfillment comes not from fleeting applause, but from creating joy and love that stand the test of time. Today we step into the bold, inventive, and unconventional energy of Uranus in Leo or in the fifth house. Uranus represents change, freedom, and originality. Leo, ruled by the sun, is expressive, dramatic, and creative. The fifth house carries these same themes. It governs joy, play, romance, children, and artistic expression. When Uranus lands here, your creativity and self-expression take on an unpredictable, innovative, and trailblazing quality. This placement creates someone who thrives on standing out. You're unlikely to follow traditional paths in love, art, or personal joy. Instead, you bring a fresh perspective, often surprising others with your originality and daring. At your best, you're a visionary, a creator who inspires others to break out of their comfort zones. At your most unbalanced, you may become restless, rebellious, or inconsistent, always seeking the next thrill. In relationships, you're magnetic and exciting, but you need freedom and room to explore. Love here thrives when it's playful, unconventional, and full of surprises. You may attract partners who are unique, eccentric, or outside the norm. In career, this placement favours creative innovation, technology in the arts, entertainment, or any role where you can revolutionise self-expression. You're not here to follow trends, you're here to set them. In health, nervous energy may run high if you don't have creative outlets. Activities that combine play and originality, like dance, performance, or inventive hobbies, help keep your energy flowing. Financially, Uranus here may bring sudden gains or losses, often tied to creative risks or speculative ventures. Flexibility and innovation are your strengths, but grounding your ideas helps sustain abundance. When Uranus in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a call to embrace your individuality in how you create, love, and enjoy life. Change in these areas may feel sudden, but it's guiding you toward authenticity. So ask yourself, am I expressing my creativity and love in ways that feel true to me? Or am I holding them back to fit expectations? Because Uranus in Leo or the fifth house teaches that joy and passion shine brightest when they're lived on your own terms. Today we step into the dreamy, romantic and imaginative energy of Neptune in Leo or in the fifth house. Neptune represents spirituality, illusion, and inspiration. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, expressive, and creative. The fifth house reflects these same themes. It governs love, joy, children, play, and artistic self-expression. When Neptune lands here, creativity and romance are infused with mysticism, idealism, and a touch of fantasy. This placement creates someone with a deeply artistic and visionary spirit. You may feel drawn to theatre, music, film, or any art form that blends imagination with performance. At your best, you're inspiring and magical, able to uplift others through your creativity. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with illusions, chasing idealised love stories, getting lost in fantasy, or seeking recognition through escapism. In relationships, you crave romance that feels larger than life. You may idealise partners or fall in love with the dream of love itself. Boundaries are important here, learning to see people clearly while still celebrating the beauty of connection. In career, this placement favours the arts, spiritual teaching, acting, or any path where imagination and creativity merge. You have the potential to inspire through beauty and vision, but grounding your dreams into practical form is key. In health, vitality may ebb and flow depending on your emotional and creative outlets. If you suppress your imagination, fatigue or emotional overwhelm can follow. Practices that balance inspiration with grounding, like meditation, creative ritual, or dance, support your well-being. Financially, Neptune here may bring both generosity and unpredictability. Money may be spent on art, beauty, or romance, but clarity and discipline help ensure your resources don't dissolve as quickly as they appear. When Neptune in Leo or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to embrace your creative dreams while staying grounded in reality. Love, art, and joy are meant to feel transcendent, but they must also be sustainable. So ask yourself, am I creating and loving from a place of truth or from the allure of fantasy? Because Neptune in Leo or the fifth house teaches that true magic lies in balancing the dream with the real, so your light can inspire without being lost in illusion. Today we step into the intense, transformative and magnetic energy of Pluto in Leo or in the fifth house. Pluto represents power, transformation and rebirth. Leo, ruled by the sun, is bold, dramatic and creative. The fifth house mirrors these themes. It governs romance, joy, children, creativity and self-expression. When Pluto lands here, passion and creativity take on a deep, transformative quality that can change not only your life, but also the lives of those you touch. This placement creates someone with a powerful presence. You don't just create, you transform through your art, your love and your joy. Self-expression here can be intense, magnetic and even cathartic. At your best, you inspire others through the depth of your passion. At your most unbalanced, you may wrestle with pride, control, or the desire for recognition at all costs. In relationships, you love with intensity and devotion, Romance here is rarely casual. It's passionate, consuming, and transformative. You may attract powerful or challenging partners who push you to grow, but you must be mindful of power struggles and the need to control. In career, Pluto here excels in the arts, entertainment, leadership, psychology, or any role that allows you to channel your creative power and influence others. You're not meant for shallow work. You're here to make an impact. In health, emotional intensity may affect vitality if not expressed constructively. Creative outlets, physical activity, and deep self-reflection help release inner tension and restore balance. Financially, Pluto in the fifth may bring dramatic highs and lows through speculative ventures or creative risks. With wisdom, this placement can generate wealth through transformation, influence, or powerful creative projects. When Pluto in Leo, or the fifth house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to embrace the power of your creativity and passion. You're being called to express yourself authentically, not to seek applause, but to spark transformation within and around you. So ask yourself, am I using my creative fire to empower and inspire, or to control and impress? Because Pluto in Leo, or the fifth house, teaches that true joy and love are not about dominance or recognition, but about the transformative power of living from the heart with courage and authenticity.